Welcome, people of the light and the dark. I am just coming on live tonight to talk about um, why I haven't been live in the last week. Well, I was shut down for a while, but the Terminator is back. Yes, I'm back to finish terminating the sickness that sick people have placed on our community, to terminate the mindsets that have been created within our community, to terminate all the destruction, and to raise my hands as if to say, take it all back, take it all back. Not raising my hands in surrender, but raising my hands in power, like the boomerang, like the superhero, like Superman, basically, that raises his hand and all the energy pours out, pushing whatever the enemy is pushing his way, pushing it right back. So I'm back. And I'm just coming alive for whoever wants to come on here and join me in discussion. If not, that's fine. I'm just letting you all know that I'm back and live. But one thing that I'm going to start doing differently, I have a new motto. I have a new motto. And this motto is that, let's see. If you found the pot of gold within yourself, then this is the place for you right here. Once you recognize that you are the one and the only one that can deal and handle your reality, change it, make it better. Although that's not to say that there are not forces now. There are forces out there. And that's why I deemed myself the Terminator, because there are forces out here that have caused so much um, chaotic issues. And when you're able to, when you have the knowledge of this, you have to say something, and you have to break it up. You have to stop it. And the only way to stop it is to give knowledge. And the only way for then, once you give knowledge, the only way for it to be stopped, it starts with each individual. It starts with each individual taking their responsibilities. You may not be able, you can stop it on the outside, in an outside way. If something is happening to you, you can stop it. You can stop it from within you by not allowing it to happen. One thought was going through my mind today was the point that how I was listening to commentary on the Breonna Taylor case. And not only that, about a lot of other issues going on with the police in our community. And I thought, hey, Maud, I thought to myself, how do Black people allow white police officers in our communities? How and why? Oh, that one, Maud. That show was, I had, that was recorded. That wasn't alive. That wasn't alive at all. The last live I did was last night on Facebook, but I didn't get a lot of people for that one. But I always get support from Dean. He's on my Facebook page, so he was actually there. But the Neanderthal DNA link, that one was. I always try to record those when I deal with articles. But if it's important to discuss, I'll do it live. But the Neanderthal one, I did that pre-recorded, so you didn't miss anything. Hey, Indigenous Copper, Tom, how you doing? Yeah, this is not the live show that I was telling you about earlier, but I'm doing that one in the morning because this one's just a little quick live chat to let you all know that I'm alive and I'm back. Looking like the Terminator, bruised and beaten up, and then got a metal eye, and all those things. All those good things in the war battle. Yeah. Oh, you can't find your comment? I know sometimes they mess around with our comments. But I was trying to figure out, how do we allow white police officers in our communities? I think that's one of the number one ways that we got broken as a community, as far as our men being broken down, because the men are the protector in our communities. And given the history, given the past of dealing with white people, that should have never been allowed. Yes, definitely. Hmm. You said you were surprised. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're on the right subject. But well, tomorrow I'm gonna be doing it in the morning on critical thinking. But I was so busy all day. I couldn't get my thoughts straight on. That's a very important topic, critical thinking, because I know so much about what is happening to all of us on this planet right now, that it swelters within me, or it pains within me that we as a people are so into the creature comfort that we're not out here. We're not trying to do anything about it. I mean, it's not even it takes only one little action, and that's to hit them where it hurts, to always hit them where it hurts, to let them know that we're not dumb, that we're not dumb. But the whole thing is, in a way, they got us where they want us. In a way, they got us where they want us. They got us on their level, you know. They got us on their level. And some of us are not going to be able to make it. And I've said this before years ago, because I thought that the pre-warning would set off our people to a change in the future. That's what you expect. That's what you would expect. But I think some people did heed those warnings. But then some people probably shake me off like they do now. I get shaken off, like, you know. But it's important that we definitely be in tune with self. And like I said, once you find that pot of gold you find your pot of gold within yourself, then come see me, because then you will be on that same level that I'm on, and you will see too what I'm saying, and you can go and do and get a group of people and do something about it, because it starts where you're at. No, it doesn't. It starts where everybody's at. It's very critical to know that you can be critical in these changes. You play a big part in defeating. Maud says the spell work from these people is deep. Well, they don't have no spell work. They really have no spell work. And I was just thinking about that, and I was laughing because they don't have no magic. They don't have none of that. The only thing they got is us, and they got the people. The pressure of the people upon us, because we're not a small group of people, but everybody has fallen for the lies. We're not a small group of people, but everybody has fallen for the lies. But I'm going to share, I know I share this over and over again, but we're going to go over the principles I live by, the principles we all should live by. And I'm going to start every video I do, I'm going to start out with this, because it's critical to push this, because we speak power. We speak power into what we want. They have extraterrestrial magic helping them. No, we are the extraterrestrial. So yes, they have our powers helping them. And that's why I talk out here, because I want us to stop helping them. I'm pleading to us to stop helping them. I know it's hard, but I want it to stop. I want us to stop it. So far it's getting better. It's getting there. And it's us. It's all in the cartoon Flintstone Tarzan. That's them. Yeah. Indigenous copper. Let me see. And we have different kinds of beings in the multiverse. And yes, they had help. Yeah, they always had help. Here on, planet Earth, they had, we had traders. We've always had traders. We have traders today, but that don't mean that they're more powerful than you and I. It doesn't mean they're powerful over you and I. They're not that. And that's why the video tomorrow is going to be very, very important, because it's on critical. All we got to do is critically think. So basically, this place, the United States, instead of the people allowing ourselves to be pit against each other, I'll repeat, instead of the people allowing ourselves to be pit against each other, we need to come out of the creature comfort and come out of survival mode that they got us all in. Now, majority of the planet is survival mode nature. But the whole thing is they diverted spirituality on the planet. Spirituality was essential in life for each individual. It's very essential in this life on this planet, on this third 3D living. Because, like Sister Purple said, Purple Lover 77, I think it was 7. She told us that this dimension, all the creatures, all the different other dimensions, they want to be on this dimension because imagination, you can do whatever, be whatever. And that's the truth. That's the truth. But we're locked down. We're locked down right now. We're locked down. And yes, okay, Thundercats talks about third 3D Earth dematerializing. Is that a movie? Because I'll catch that. As a kid, I love cartoons, but as I start growing up, I hated them. Same here. I just couldn't get into them. And then he says, but now, since the awakening, I sit back and glance at my kids' cartoons they watch, and I just see all that. Yeah, it's a lot of truth in these cartoons. It's a lot of revealing of a lot of reality in these cartoons. So, like I'm saying, it's very important that we look at this. If they are racist, then why? And they think in their minds that all Black people are criminals, and they tell other people bad things about us. Then why would any man? And they always lynched us, and they always mistreat us. Why would any man agree to have white cops? What in the world was he smoking on when he agreed to integrate us and then have white cops in our communities? I mean, our people at the time, you couldn't even walk down the street and look in the direction of one of these cops out here beating his wife. White cops beating his wife. You couldn't, there was a time when Mama and her son were walking past a white couple, and the white police officer was beating the brakes off his wife, because in these towns, they're allowed to do that and they get away with murder. And the young man, being as innocent as he could, he says, Mama, he's hurting that lady. Mama has to tell him, keep straight ahead, look straight ahead. That's the way we grew. That's the way our ancestors in America were raised. You couldn't get involved in white folks' business. You see something, you see nothing. It's like it was just Jim Crow. And or your mom's working in their house, and same scenario. She has to pretend like she didn't hear nothing, see nothing, or hope to God that she's not in this house at the time, because they'll kill her too. Any witness. But this is the degradation in America, unfortunately, that we have fallen under. This is the degradation that we've had to live through. And yet, we hold the power, we hold the control on the whole thing. But because of creature comfort, because of the mere need for survival that these people have incited within us, because we had higher than just survival. Like I said, we dealt with intellect, and I'll get into that tomorrow morning more, because all it takes in this whole situation on this planet is intellect. All it takes is to wake up and realize that degradation is weak without you, without me. It's weak. But I do see but you see, I don't work on the level of the victims, because the victims are just the result, the symptom of the cause. And like I said, just because these people that are the pawns, I would say pawns, I'm going to call them pawns. Just because the pawns do what they do doesn't mean they have some special powers. It means that you are contributing to their weakness to strengthen them. We are doing that. So what we have to do, we have to simply just cease and desist or something. Why they say it? Cease to assist. Cease to assist in that whole thing. But let's go over this thing here, Ma'at, because where is it at? Okay, here it goes. Principles of Ma'at. Okay, the goddess Ma'at is embodiment of the ancient Egyptian 7 principles of Ma'at, which are truth, balance, order, harmony, righteousness, morality, and justice. Now, Black family, we hold all of this within ourselves. We hold all of this. It's evident, because if the white man and the white woman held it, it would be on this earth. But it's evident that they don't hold it, so it's not on the earth. It was expected that the priests, pharaohs, and their families embodied these principles along with every member of the community. Life was to be lived in such a way that these principles guided all actions and relationships. One who did not live or rule and lead by these principles was considered unfit for position during the times Egypt's of greatest spiritual heights. These principles can and should reflect on our modern world. Here are the definitions. Truth, the ability to understand the difference between the real and unreal. Of course, this is subject to the definition of reality. In this interpretation, reality is grounded in the belief of the greatest goodness, that which permeates all that exists, that all living creatures are sacred, and all are spiritual beings deserving of respect and honor. Justice, the state in which there is equity for all persons, for all creatures, and that for the planet. Do we see that? No. We don't see it on the land. We don't see justice for the land. We don't see justice for the skies. We don't see justice for the people. We don't see justice at all, especially in our heirs. Equity means that all have equal opportunity for basic needs to be met. Yes, we shouldn't have to do a tit for tat. We shouldn't be out here having to suffer our bodies or suffer in some kind of way to get these things that are made for everybody on the planet. Food grows on the earth, enough for every living creature, because it replenishes itself. If the air was purified. Shelter, water is plentiful. Safety is you know, it's going to be there automatically, safety, when everybody is in a balanced mental state. Medical care shouldn't cost a lot of money. No one should be taking advantage of anybody to give them medical care, and nobody should be given medicine that deteriorates the body and does not heal like natural medicine does. Dignity, respect, community, to live in peace, to fully and meaningfully participate and contribute to society, to offer gifts, talents, and or essence towards the good of the whole. Harmony, the state of being in which different expressions of Mother Nature, God, goddesses, the God and God meaning guide, the sun in us, Anubis, Ba in us, the soul, spirit, humans, animals, plants, etc., move together in ways that create alignment and beauty. Each expression must be authentic and express fully all that it is created to be. It is only through authenticity that harmony can truly be achieved and occur naturally when each entity is being true to itself. So we can't even come amongst each other, come together until we're true with ourselves and we're in a balanced state. To its spiritual reality, balance, a state in which the internal and external environments of an individual or group are aligned with the goddess, that is her higher self, her guide, in Mother Nature. You connect it, and you're moving along in harmony. You're being guided down your journey. I had it pegged earlier on a good example I was going to use for that, because it was like epiphany of myself that I recognized, I realized, as I was self-reflecting, and I just lost it. I just lost it. One another and the rest of the creation. It is the experience of existing in the place where opposites meet. The creation point where new life is generated and new possibilities come into being. Order, a state of being in which things are arranged in ways that are uncluttered, free of excess, clear. Reciprocity, it's the reality that what comes around goes around. This is a motion rhythm of cause and effect, give and take, forward and backwards, to every aspect of creation. Now, this doesn't work for the ponds. Although some people haven't reached the point of understanding that I have on this part, that no matter what they do, they cannot avoid the cause and effect. They can tell you ahead of time that they have already caused an effect. To tell you ahead of time, they have dumbed you down, gave you creature comforts that they have once disadvantaged you out from, and they still disadvantage you out from. So the effects still stand. Everything that they ditch out comes right back around to them. Everything. And it's not even worth the thought. They're not even worth the thought, really. See, that's what thing we need to come out of, is we need to let go. Because let go of weakness. We need to let go of weakness. Now we can let it go and we can fight it at the same time. Because letting go is part of the battle. It's part of the battle. And because you're recognizing that they don't have the power, that you just need to deal with the issues at hand. And we can deal with the issues at hand, each one of us, through changes within ourselves. Propriety means to be and to do what is right, according to the truth that all living creatures are spiritual beings and deserve to exist. This means to do no harm to another being, creature, or aspect of the goddess, beginning with self. The principles of Maat were an important value of Egyptian culture. The teachings about how to live in order to find union with the God's higher spirit. So, was part of the life training of an ancient Egyptian people from infancy onward. The purpose of this union was both for the good and the benefit of the individual, but even more so for the society and the world. Each person should live a life in which the principles of Maat were embodied externally as well as internally. And I want to talk about also, let me see if I can find it. I want to talk about also this thing here, because we're coming on the voting up to the voting era. But I was reading this yesterday on my Facebook, and I'm going to read it now, even though it's a long read in a way. But I'll read it. Okay, why I won't vote? Because I won't vote. I won't vote, and I agree. But I think he was a little naive. I think W.E.B. Du Bois was a little naive, and learning about him in school, him and the other dude, I kind of didn't like them because to me, they were trying to get into this society, and I guess he had blinders on. Maybe had blinders on. But you'll see as I read this, because I won't vote, and this is why I won't vote. Not that I lived his experiences, but I lived part of his experiences, and it's almost like we've been going in a circle, a never-ending circle. And then in this, you'll see, okay, by W.E.B. Du Bois, The Nation, 20 October 1956. Wow, October. On October the 20th, 1956, W.E.B. Du Bois delivers this eloquent indictment of U.S. politics while explaining to Nation readers why he won't vote. And I put on there that W.E.B. Du Bois was an ancestor as well. In the upcoming presidential election, Du Bois condemns both Democrats and Republicans for their indifferent positions on the influence of corporate wealth, racial inequality, arms, proliferation, and unaffordable health care. Now, people, if we continue to allow this, I'm going to have a letter for the future to read myself, and they're going to read the same letter I'm reading. Since I was 21 in 1889, I have in theory followed the voting plan strongly, advocated by Sidney Lenz and the Nation of August the 4th, i.e. voting for a third party, even when its chances were hopeless. If the main parties were unsatisfactory, or in absence of a third choice, voting for the lesser of two evils, my action, however, had to be limited by the candidate's attitude towards Negroes. Of my adult life, I have spent 23 years living and teaching in the South, where my voting choice was not asked. I was disfranchised by law or administration. In the North, I lived in all 32 years, covering 8 presidential elections. In 1912, I wanted to support Theodore Roosevelt. But this bull moose convention dodged the Negro problem. I tried to help elect Wilson as liberal Southerner. Under Wilson came the worst attempt at Jim Crow legislation and discrimination in civil service that we had experienced since the Civil War. In 1916, I took Hughes as the lesser of the two evils. He promised Negroes nothing and kept his word. In 1920, I supported Harding because of his promise to liberate Haiti. In 1924, I voted for Lafayette. Although I knew he could not be elected, in 1928, Negroes faced absolute dilemma. Neither Hoover nor Smith wanted the Negro vote, and both publicly insulted us. I voted for Norman Thomas. And the socialist, although the socialist had attempted to Jim Crow Negro members in the South. In 1932, I voted for Franklin Roosevelt. Since Hoover was unthinkable, and Roosevelt's attitude towards workers most realistic. I was again in the South from 1934 until 1944. Technically, I could vote, but the election in which I could not vote was farce. The real election was the white primary. Retired for age in 1944, I returned to the North and found a party to my liking. In 1948, I voted the progressive ticket for Henry Wallace. In 1952, for Vincent Hilleman. In 1956, I shall not go to the polls. I have not registered. I believe that democracy has so far disappeared in the United States that no two evils exist. There is but one evil party with two names, and it will be elected despite all I can do or say. There is no third party on the presidential ballot. In a few states, 17 in 1952, a socialist party will appear. Few will hear it appeal because it will have almost no opportunity to take part in the campaign and explain its platform. If a voter organizes or advocates a real third party movement, he may be accused of seeking to overthrow this government by force and violence. Anything he advocates by way of significant reform will be called communist and will necessity be communist in the sense that it must advocate such things as government ownership of the means of production, government and business, the limitation of private profit, social medicine, government housing, and federal aid to education, the total abolition of race bias, and the welfare state. These things are every communist program. These things are the aim of socialism. Any American who advocates them today, no matter how sincerely, stands in danger of losing his job, surrendering his social status, and perhaps landing in jail. The witnesses against him may be liars or insane or criminals. These witnesses need give no proof for their charges and may not even be known to or appear in person. They may be in the pay of the United States government. ADA and liberals are not third parties. They seek to act as tails to kites. But since the kites are self-propelled and radar controlled, tails are quite superfluous and rather silly. The present administration is carrying on the greatest preparation for war in the history of mankind. Stevenson promises to maintain or increase this effort. The weight of our taxation is unbearable and rests mainly and deliberately on the poor. The administration is dominated and directed by wealth and for accumulation of wealth. It runs smoothly like a well-organized industry and should do so because industry runs it for the benefit of industry. Corporate wealth profits as never before in history. We turn over the national resources to private profit and have few funds left for education, health, or housing. Our crime, especially juvenile crime, is increasing. Its increase is perfectly logical for a generation we have been teaching for our youth to kill, destroy, steal, rape, and war. What can we expect in peace? We let men take wealth which is not theirs. If the seizure is legal, we call it high profits, and the profiteers help decide what is legal. If the theft is illegal, the thief can fight it out in court with excellent chances to win if he receives the accolade of the right newspapers. Gambling in home, church, on the stock market is increasing, and all prices are rising. It costs 3 times his salary to elect a senator and many millions to elect a president. This money comes from the very corporations which today are the government. This, in a real democracy, should be enough to turn the party responsible out of power. Yet, this we cannot do. The other party has surrendered all party differences in foreign affairs. And foreign affairs are our most important affairs today and take most of our taxes. Even in domestic affairs, how does Stevenson differ from Eisenhower? He uses better English than Dulles. Thank God he has a sly humor, where Eisenhower has none. Beyond the Stevenson stance on the race question in the South, not far from where his godfather, Adlai, stood 63 years ago, which reconciles him to the South, he has no clear policy on war or preparation for war, on water and flood control, on reduction of taxation, on welfare state. He wavers on civil rights, and his party blocked civil rights in the Senate until Douglas of Illinois admitted that the Democratic Senate would and could stop even the right of senators to vote. Douglas had a right to complain. 3 million voters sent him to the Senate to speak for them. His voice was drowned and his vote nullified by Eastman, the chairman of Senate Judiciary Committee, who was elected by 151,000 voters. This is the democracy in the United States which we peddle abroad. Negroes hoped to muster 400,000 votes in 1956. Where will they cast them? What have the Republicans done to enforce the education decision of the Supreme Court? What they advertised as fair employment was exactly nothing. And Nixon was just the man to explain it. What has the administration done to rescue Negro workers, the most impoverished group in the nation, half of whom receives less than half the median wage of the nation? While the nation sends billions abroad to protect oil investments and help employ slave labor in the Union of South Africa and the Rhodesians, very well. And will party of Talmadge, Eastland, and Ellender do better than the Republicans if the Negroes return them to office? I have no advice for others in this election. Are you voting Democratic? Well and good. All I ask is why. Are you voting Eisenhower and his smooth team of bright ghostwriters? Again, why? Will your helpless vote either way support or restore democracy to America? Is the refusal to vote in the phony election a counsel of despair? No, it is dogged hope. It is hope that if 25 million voters refrained from voting in 1956 because of their own accord and not because of a sly wink from Khrushchev, this might make the American people ask how much longer this dumb farce can proceed without even a whimper of protest. Yet, if we protest off, the nation goes to Russia and China. 55 American ministers and philanthropists, or whatever you call it, are asking the Soviet Union to face manfully the doubt and the promptings of their conscience. Cannot these do-gooders farce their own conscience? Can they not see that American culture is rotting away? Our honesty, our human sympathy, our literature, save we import from abroad. Save what we import from abroad, Our only review of literature has wisely dropped literature from its name. Our manners are gone. And the one thing we want is to be rich to show off. Success is measured by income. University education is for income, not culture, and is partially supported by private industry. We are not training poets or musicians, but atomic engineers. Business is built on successful lying called advertisement. We want money in vast amounts, no matter how we get it, so we have it. And then what? And what then? Is the answer the election of 1956? We can make a sick man president and set him to a job which would strain a man in robust health so he dies. And what do we get to lead us? With Stevenson and Nixon, with Eisenhower and Eastland, we remain in the same mess. I will be no party to it, and that will make little difference. You will take large part and bravely march to the polls, and that also will make no difference. Stop running Russia and giving Chinese advice when we cannot rule ourselves decently. Stop yelling about democracy we do not have. Democracy is dead in the United States. Yet there is still nothing to replace real democracy. Drop the chains, then that bind our brains. Drive the money changers from the seats of the cabinet and halls of Congress. Let me repeat that. Drop the chains, then that binds our minds, our brains. Drive the money changers from the seats of the cabinet and the halls of Congress. Call back some faint spirit of Jefferson and Lincoln. I'm no more good. And when, again, we can hold a fair election on real issues, let's vote. And not till then. It is impossible. Then democracy in America is impossible. But I'd say differently. I'm not calling back Jefferson and Lincoln because they were part of the problem too, as far as I'm concerned. I agree with drive the money changers from the seats of cabinet in the halls of Congress. They need to go. All of them need to go. The whole Washington needs to go. It all needs to go. The White House and all needs to go. But that's why you won't see me voting. Hey, S. Wiseman. That's why I couldn't stand these men after I learned about them. And well, we did, I studied about them in school. I just, I remember recently, it was a few years ago, after my father passed away. Actually, he passed away, and I think we went to a memorial site. We went to his graveyard for memorial. And, y'all know my mind frame. I just wasn't feeling the holiday. And I wasn't feeling Frederick Douglass the betrayal of Frederick Douglass there, because I couldn't stand the man, and I couldn't, nor could I stand W.E.B. Du Bois either, because they were more of trying to build this system up. They had hope in this system. I have no hope, and I've lost that a long time ago. I can't even pinpoint when, because I would be doing a dishonest assessment of my experience to you, because I think it happened way before the time I actually try to say it happened. Because I can look back on some of my attitude towards certain things, and I say, wow, that was much earlier than I thought. So, because I just could not, I can't deal with you being okay and trying to feel like you can make it better. You can't make this society better. There's no healing, there's no cure for the people that are in this and for what they have done to us. But once again, I submit the question, how do we allow white police officers, and we trust them? What is wrong with our Black men out here? What is going on? Are they gone? See, I be seeing this one guy's videos, and he's talking about how it seems like both vice presidents forgot about the Black man. And I've seen him talk about the Black man feeling like he's been forgotten. But we have to look at it this way. The Black man and Black woman are very important in this whole planet. So when you're derelict at your duties, and it's not by any fault of your own that you're derelict of your duties, but it's because we have, as a people, we allowed ourselves to be influenced. We allowed our energy to be sucked up from us. We allowed ourselves to be guided by man and not by nature. We illuminate man instead of illuminating nature. And I wanted to talk about also one thing that's frustrating me is the Masons, the Freemasons. It's an all man's secret society, white man's secret society. But when our Black men think about it, they felt like they needed to be a part of that, which it does the Black woman a total honor. Because, for one thing, the white man's secrets shouldn't be anything that we should try to want to get near to. We shouldn't care about his secrets, because his mind is beneath us. And the whole thing of forcing us to understand things when we need to be overstanding and understanding things. So the Black woman is the architect, is the Mason. So the white man has taken her totally out of the picture. And of course, like I said before many times, they have done nothing but covered over our world with their world. And for you to understand just how critical and important and a devastating thing that they have done to us, it is a big disservice to us as a people. It's a big disservice to us as a people. Because we now are dealing with everything outside of ourselves. We feel, we're so focused on everything outside of ourselves, and we're giving power over to that thing instead of recognizing that the power is within us, each one of us. So where I felt like I was always rushing around, didn't have time. And then I stopped and I thought about it. And I'm like, this is really the death of me. This is the death of me. Who can live like this? Who lives like this? This is not for my personality. This is not for me. It's just not me. It's not, I'm out of my elements, basically. And that's what I would say majority of us out here are in that predicament where we don't take the time to think about about self, and realize that self holds the key to everything for you, and not Mr. Boss Man, not family members, not, all of that falls into place eventually once you deal with self. And we're not taught that. We're not groomed in that. We're not from infancy. So that was done to us. That was done to us intentionally. And we didn't know ahead of time for that. And because we didn't know ahead of time for that, all other cause and effect things fall into the same category. And these people uh, are not protected against that, and by no means. They still would get what they get for causing such an effect. And I think I really see them on a daily basis suffering. Because, look, life, the way it is now, we've been pushed on to such a low level that we think it's good. We think it's good, but it's not. It's about it's a death level. It's on a death level. Everything that we have does not last. It'd be gone here today, gone tomorrow, basically, is what I'm saying. If something is here today and gone the next, is it worth it? Is it worth it? At least I don't feel like it. That's why I don't even buy certain things, because I know it deteriorates. And if it deteriorates fast, then I just wasted my time. I just see it right now, and then in a few hours it's gone. So what's the use? But that's the superficial. Those are things that are not important, that we get shoved in our faces. But there's things that are more important, and those are the things that are everlasting and that replenish themselves. But for this to be a capitalist country, we have to keep we have to stay in this death place. This death place. Yeah, made to deteriorate fast. You're right about that. How are you doing today, S. Wiseman? Yeah, it is made to deteriorate fast, girl. But I won't stay on too long. But I'm gonna be on in the morning. Yeah, I'm back to terminate. So hopefully terminate. And to get a whole bunch of terminators out there, because we have to do something, because the whole thing is, they don't think we're dumb. They know we're dumb. They know we're dumb. We're dumbed down, because my daughter is currently learning history, right? And from my understanding, the government is the people, right? The government is the people, supposedly. But I don't see why we have president. I don't see why we have people in Congress that we paying all this money to work for us, and we don't have nothing. And I see that as a big, serious problem. I'm sorry. I see that as, let me know if I'm in the wrong of my position, but I see that as a problem for me. Um, I don't, I don't see how we pay them all this money to be able to be official up there. And the rest of us are down here, like, nothing, like nothing. And I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to be called a communist because I know, in my experience, what I've learned about communists, and it's coming from the word community, and taxation is theft, and we're paying, the people is the government. That's all you need. That's all you need. The people needs to be taken care of. The people need their money. The people need everything that they built. And I just don't see, I just don't see why the people sit back and allow themselves to have a president, congressmen, senators. Get rid of them. Fired. You're fired, all of you. I don't see no need for it. I'm sorry. I don't. I just see them living up there, and they're living better than the people when they should be in our position, and the people should be living good. That's how it should be. And then if you're doing your job well, then of course you'd be tipped. You'd be tipped. But as it stands now, how do they control their paychecks? How do they have all the taxes, money that we pay them, and living a good life? And why would you even need that waste of time? That waste of time to me. A waste of time. Exactly. You can pay for your own health care in schools. Exactly. Exactly. And you wouldn't be pressured. You wouldn't feel pressured. Thieves in office, big time. They're living better than the government, than the people. And I that's how they know we're dumb, because we're not doing anything about it. That's how they know we're dumb. It's not about voting, because they can play this game. They're all one. They're happy. They're getting all their creature comfort. But like I said, we got to think, in order to beat this, we got to not think creature comfort. We need to think intellectual, because they're not thinking intellectually at all. At all. Because if they were thinking intellectually, we would be in a better situation than we are. The planet would be in a better situation than it is. But because they're not thinking intellectually, this is just like they say, the rabbit hole we fell in of capitalism. Capitalism. We do have to be strategic, and we can. It's never too late. We can. It's never too late. I'm actually, saying this can go for the future. Who, even though I'm not voting, I don't vote. I'm not political. But the whole thing is, we've been taken advantage of, the people. Totally taken advantage of. And that's why I come to the coronavirus. Now, the coronavirus is just what I said it was going to be. I didn't specifically say that it was going to be a disease, but I knew that the witch hunt was going to come around again. And what I mean by witch hunt is people believing lies, just like in the Salem witch hunt. Everybody was a witch because they believed whatever somebody told them. They believed whatever somebody told them instead of using their own intellect. So we something, a little something about getting sick. We know a little something passed down for people like my grandmother and your great greats. And the basics. That you understand that the AC doesn't cause you cold. That the cold, just because the weather's cold, you don't necessarily have to get sick. That's why people always tell us to wear jackets, because they understood when they tell you to wear hat, gloves, and jackets, they understood that the body temperature could change. And in that change, the natural germs and viruses we have in our bodies would take action, take the process of changing as well, or coordinating itself to that change within the body. So because of that, and because of their understanding of this, we have the same people that think we're dumb, that know we're dumb as a people, as a whole on the planet, that understand that how to play people. They do things to evoke the body to do these changes. And because they already set it up through fast food restaurants, people eating certain foods that they shouldn't be eating, it causes us to have other problems with our bodies. And so all they need to do is throw some chemtrails in there. Because we already do have the work for them. So when I say that it starts with us finding the pot of gold within yourself and loving yourself, where you consider what you eat, you listen to your body, you're in tune with your body, and you're taking care of yourself, because these people are out here to make capital. They're out here to make capital and not care about us. I got knocked off, so yeah, they're here to make capital, just like you read. It's all about the money. It's all about the money. But tomorrow we're going to critical think in the morning on the Black situation that we're in. So until then, I'd like to say true love, real peace, the higher self within the soul. And until next time, take care, family. Go within, raise your vibes. You got the power. Meditate. Take care of yourself. I'm going to have me some hot respiratory tea because I've been running, trying to get rid of the little bit of weight I got, get back to myself, and rearrange my diet the best way I can in these stores, out here in these stores, people. With that said, true love and peace. Thank you guys for being here.